Welcome to the deep dive. So, India's 2024 elections, huh? Hugely watched around the globe, obviously, but also incredibly debated, really emotionally charged back home.
Definitely. And we saw record numbers turning out to vote, especially younger people, which was interesting.
Yeah, and the whole digital side of things, just massive engagement like never before, really.
Absolutely. So now the dust has settled a bit, the votes are counted, a new government's in place. But the real question, I think, isn't just who won.
Right, it's more about what's actually changed, on the ground. How are things different in people's everyday lives across India?
That's exactly what we're aiming for today. We're going to dive deep into that post-election mood. We're looking everywhere, streets, markets, universities, even inside Parliament.
And the idea is to pull together the key insights from, well, a whole range of sources we've looked at.
Precisely. To give you, the listener, a clear picture of what's genuinely shifted and how it's actually impacting people day to day.
And there are some big questions we need to unpack, aren't there? Like these political shifts. Are they leading to, say, a stronger ruling coalition? Or is it more a return to classic coalition politics, where regional parties suddenly have more clout?
That's a crucial one. And then there's the economy. All those promises about jobs, infrastructure, helping rural areas. How's that landing? Especially with, inflation still biting and youth unemployment being a persistent issue.
And the youth vote, they played such a huge part. So what are they feeling now? Are they hopeful? Maybe a bit let down? What are their expectations?
We'll get into that. And also the broader democratic space in India. Things like civil liberties, press freedom. How is that landscape evolving? Is there still room for dissent, for protest?
It's more than just politics, isn't it? It's really a snapshot of a nation figuring things out. It's complex. There's hope, worry, resilience too.
Exactly. And understanding these changes, well, it matters. It matters to millions of people. And getting a grasp on it quickly offers real value.
Okay, so let's start with the politics. Our sources seem pretty clear that this election wasn't just about seats changing hands. It feels more fundamental, like a real rebalancing of power.
Yeah, analysts are definitely pointing towards a shift. More of a coalition-first way of governing now, perhaps.
What does that actually mean in practice for making policy based on what we're seeing?
Well, what's interesting is how quickly we saw it. There's a move away from a very centralized structure to one that needs a lot more consensus building. It's slower, sure.
Slower, right, more negotiation.
Exactly, like talks around big infrastructure projects. They aren't just top-down anymore. It involves a lot more back and forth with regional allies, taking their needs into account.
So potentially more representative of different states' interests.
That's the argument. One analyst we looked at described it as slower, but arguably more representative. It hints at a more, let's say, nuanced national policy approach going forward.
That makes sense. And how does that political shift connect to the economy? Because for most people, that's the bottom line, right? Inflation, jobs, uncertainty. How does this translate to their wallets?
It translates pretty directly, actually. Our sources show small businesses, for example, especially in services, are still really wrestling with things like GST compliance.
The digital aspect.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually led to a bit of a boom for local tax consultants, helping people navigate it all. And then you look at jobs.
Still a major concern.
Seems so. The latest data we saw points to this ongoing gap between the jobs being created and the sheer number of young people entering the workforce, manufacturing, construction. They seem particularly tough sectors right now.
And you hear it from everyday people too, right?
Oh, definitely. We saw mentions of homemakers worried about food prices going up, cab drivers dealing with higher fuel costs. These sort of microeconomic things really tell the story.
And speaking of that workforce, the youth. Millions voted, many for the first time. It feels like a pivotal moment for them. What's the vibe? Empowered? Disappointed?
It seems like a real mix. Our sources, including chats with students, activists, even some online creators, paint a picture of, well, cautious optimism alongside some real frustration.
So not straightforward then?
Not at all. Lots of younger voters felt let down by the pace of job creation. That came through strongly. But others, maybe more in rural areas, seemed hopeful about potential agricultural reforms.
Any particular voices stand out?
There was one student activist quoted who put quite well, I thought. Something like, "We voted for change. Now we're watching to see if our voices were truly heard, beyond just counting the ballots."
That captures it. They're still engaged, still watching.
Absolutely. Whether it's through activism or online debate, they're going to keep shaping the conversation, no doubt.
Oh, finally, let's touch on the democratic space itself. Post-election, what's the assessment? Are civil liberties feeling more secure or maybe more pressured? Press freedom, the right to protest. Where does that stand?
Yeah, connecting this to the bigger picture, the state of civil liberties and press freedom is kind of a critical test, isn't it, of how India's democracy is evolving.
What are the signals?
Well, the material we reviewed suggests some ongoing pressure, increased scrutiny on independent media, for instance, some journalists reporting feeling more pressure towards self-censorship.
But is that the whole story?
Not entirely. It also highlights the resilience you mentioned earlier. Grassroots protest movements are still popping up, still making noise, even if they're under a closer watch.
So it's a push and pull.
It's definitely dynamic, a real interplay between state power and civil society. That space for critical voices, is it opening up or closing down? That's the key question people are tracking.
So wrapping up this deep dive, we've tried to bring you a rounded view of post-election India. We've drawn on analysts, economists, students, legal experts, and just ordinary voices.
We've touched on those power shifts, the economic pinch points for businesses and young people, the mixed feelings of the youth, and that evolving democratic landscape.
The ballots are counted, sealed away, but the story, that's really just starting its next chapter, isn't it?
Exactly. It's unfolding right now.
And for you listening, keeping an eye on these developments, understanding them quickly and thoroughly, there's real value in that. So keep observing, keep questioning, keep making sense of the shifts shaping all our worlds.